Let's be honest, college admissions is more competitive than ever, and most students are playing it safe. Clubs they don't care about, volunteer hours they forget 5 minutes later, it's all just noise. But the students who stand out throughout this whole entire process, they do things differently. They pick extracurriculars that actually mean something to them and to admissions officers themselves. In this video, I'm gonna give you 6 extracurricular ideas that check all the boxes, impressive on paper, fun to build, and actually strategic for top schools that you might be aiming for. And I'm not just showing you these random activities. These are the same activities that our private clients have used, the same students who've gone into places like Stanford, MIT, Harvard, Columbia, and all the UC schools. And the best part is that you can start any of this without needing a 4.0, a huge network, or a trust fund. Now, the part that most students get wrong is that they confuse involvement with impact. That is not the same thing. Just doing something for 4 years throughout your high school career doesn't make it automatically impressive. And just being busy doesn't mean you're building a story. Because colleges might sometimes look for well-rounded students, but they're also looking for well-lopsided students who know what they care about. So this is why you always hear about the spikes of your extracurricular activities. And that's exactly what these 6 extracurriculars are designed to do. Now, you don't need 15 different activities, because if you think more is better, you've got it all wrong. I'd rather you have 4 to 6 strong ones and being highly involved in them than 15 things you kind of sort of show up to. Because colleges aren't counting boxes, they're reading stories. So here are 6 extracurricular ideas that help you build a clear, compelling narrative without spreading yourself way too thin. So let's break them down. First is to launch a passion project. I'm sure you've heard this one before, but this still holds up to be true as one of the best ways to stand out, especially if you're someone who's self-motivated and curious. A passion project is something you create from scratch, not because it was assigned, not because it'll get you a title, but because you actually care about whatever it is that you're doing. Now, this doesn't need to be a 10,000 subscriber YouTube channel or a registered nonprofit. You're not doing this to impress people. You're doing it to show who you are. And what makes it actually impressive is to follow through, the depth and also the consistency throughout your high school career. Let's say, for example, you're into behavioral science, right? You could start a newsletter where you break down decision-making theories in everyday life. Or maybe you're into sustainability, so you start an Instagram account sharing small environmental changes students can make in their daily routines. What matters is that it's rooted in something you genuinely care about, built over time, and shareable in some way or form. But I do want to emphasize some things. Just because you have an Instagram account where you post these things, right? That doesn't mean you automatically get into Harvard or MIT or Caltech, right? That's not how this works, right? But if you want to show them that you have clear passion, this is definitely a way to do that. Second is to do research with a professor. I know this one sounds intense, but we actually have students in 10th grade from our program getting research opportunities at Caltech with Caltech research professors. But the thing is, a lot of students don't realize how accessible professors really are if you approach them the right way. We've helped high schoolers get real research experience, like I just talked about, by doing one thing that most students never think to do, which is to cold email. But here's how it works. You go to a university's website of whatever you're looking for, look at departments that align with what you're interested in, biology, psychology, political science, engineering, whatever it might, and then start reading. Find a professor whose research actually catches your attention. And yeah, it'll take some upfront work. Like, you're not just gonna sit there and just find the emails and just send your cold emails on the spot on the same day. That's not what's gonna happen. You're gonna have to read through their papers, see what actually interests you, and then reach out with personal questions. But once you've actually found something that resonates with you, you then send an email, something like this. Dear Dr. Insert Last Name, I hope you're doing well. My name is your name, and I'm a sophomore at your high school with a strong interest in XYZ. I recently came across your paper title, and I was especially fascinated by a specific part you genuinely found interesting. So I want to really emphasize the fact that this part you have to customize to the paper and what you actually learned about that paper. The way your team explained the impact or approach really stood out to me. Then you move into the ask part of your email. I love the chance to ask you a few questions about your research, especially mention 1 to 2 specific, thoughtful questions. Just one question should be fine here as well. And then if you'd be open to a short 15 to 20 minute conversation, I'd really appreciate it. And then you close it like this. Thank you again for your time and for sharing such impactful research. Warm regards, insert your full name. Right? It's clean, it's respectful, and it's specific, right? You're not just barging into their door asking for a research opportunity right away. You're simply showing your interest and passion into the work that they've done and showing that you actually put the time to read their work and understand it. And once you're able to actually get into that call, that's when you can start mentioning the possibilities of working alongside them within their research facility. I'm passionate about science. I did X, Y, and Z. Do you want to take me in as an intern? It's way better than that. But the deal is that if you do get a meeting, you should not be just showing up unprepared, right? Be ready to actually talk about what you read. Show them that you understood their work, or at least you tried to. Come in with questions that is specific to that paper that go beyond surface level. Things like, how do you choose which variables to focus on? What's the biggest challenge when turning this kind of research into something practical? If a high school student wanted to explore this field further, where should they start? That kind of curiosity is what opens doors, because you have to understand that part of the job as a professor is to hand down knowledge to the next generation. So when they see students that are much younger in high school, that are super passionate and interested in the things that they're also interested in, of course, they want to pour into that student. And yeah, the reality, you might get ignored, that's fine, but it's a numbers game. If you send 15 to 20 of these personalized and custom emails, you only need one professor to say yes. And that one yes could turn into a mentorship, shadowing, a real research experience, a recommendation letter from someone doing real work in that field. So the bottom line is that obviously it's going to take effort, but if you're willing to do the homework and put yourself out there, it can completely change your college application and your confidence throughout this process. And if you're a junior heading into senior year, this summer is your window to get ahead. We put together a bundle just for rising seniors, over $6,000 in strategy, essay support, and interview prep, totally free if you enroll by June 15th. So here's what's included. All this for absolutely free on top of our core consulting program that's helped students get into Stanford, Yale, Columbia, MIT, and every single UC school. So if you're serious, check the link in the description to work with our former admissions officers to join our paid program. Now, number 3 is to start a nonprofit or initiatives. So let's get something straight with you guys, right? Starting a nonprofit isn't just about flexing a fancy title on your resume, right? It's about doing real work, because anyone else out there can simply register a 501c3 program and then just put that on your resume. But like I said, it's about doing the real work with the skills that you actually have. When I started my nonprofit around mental health, I didn't have some perfect blueprint of what to do. I wasn't a psychologist. I didn't know exactly what events to run either. But what did I have? I had experience building teams. I'd started clubs, I led organizations, I led a whole entire esports team to win the entire state championship. So I knew how to bring people together, organize fast, and actually execute on the plan. So that's what I leaned into. I built a team, delegated clearly, focused on structure and movement. In just one summer, literally just one summer, we pulled off a door-to-door fundraising campaign and raised over $15,000 in just one summer. Obviously, that's not the best that is out there. In my opinion though, relative to what other students were doing, pretty good. But I gotta tell you, it was not easy. You can imagine it's 90 to 100 degrees in sunny California during the summer, going door to door, talking to strangers, right? Trying to funnel them into a mental health awareness webinar. I was literally out there sweating my ass off, but that's just part of the work. It's not gonna come easy, but honestly, I would say it's worth all that effort and time. So with that money, we funded scholarships at our high school, donated to local nonprofits doing great work in mental health, and actually helped sponsor events that brought real resources to the community, because I personally didn't really know how to do that. So what did I do? Again, I leaned on my skills and experience to actually fund that. I guess the big point right here is that you don't need to have it all figured out in the very beginning, because you don't need to be the expert in the topic. Just ask yourself, what am I good at? If you're not good at anything, then you might have to start somewhere. But with what you already have, the skills and the experience that you have, you want to lean onto that. So if you're a designer, use your skills to brand a campaign. If you're organized, run logistics for a fundraiser. If you're persuasive, you can lead the outreach, right? So start with your strengths and then move to the next thing. That's what makes the difference between a leadership activity that's just for show and one that actually means something. All right, number 4, this one's actually one of my favorite ones, is to actually enter competitions in your field. Right? Every time you enter a competition, you're giving colleges evidence. It's one thing to say that you love engineering, but it's another thing to say you built a robot that placed second at regionals or states or nationals. Competitions give you that structure, right? They give you deadlines, they give you feedback, and most importantly, they push you to level up, especially because you're in a competition. You could join math contests, business pitch competitions, hackathons, art shows, film festivals, writing contests, literally whatever fits your interest. And no, you don't have to win every time, which would be great. If you're competing against other people with competition-based extracurriculars, ideally you're beating them, right? But if that's not the whole point of it, if that's not your main extracurricular, the point isn't to win everything. In fact, just entering can still be valuable. Would that be a winning ticket to Harvard or MIT? Hell no, right? If you're trying to go for MIT or Harvard, you better be winning everything, right? But if you're simply aiming for schools that are in the top 30, 40 range, this could be definitely something that could show your competitiveness, but also just your overall interest within that field. But again, going back to the point where you don't have to win every time, you'll also at the same time get to build your skills, you'll meet other people, and you'll have something meaningful to write about when it comes time to write your college essays. But if you do place, that's third-party validation. You're not just telling them that you're great or you're good at this, whatever it is, coding, building businesses or whatever, but you're actually proving it and showing them that you are. And it also shows that you're willing to put your work out there. That takes guts, and colleges actually notice that. So pick 1 or 2 competitions related to your field. Prepare and then reflect on that experience, and if it goes well, build on it. Use that momentum to just keep on pushing. Now, number 5 is running for student council. If you're in 9th or 10th grade, this might be one of the best things you could do. So this one's really big. Not just because it screams leadership, just being super realistic with you, there's usually only one president within your high school. And that's what makes it such a power move, really similar to valedictorian and how only one person can be valedictorian. When colleges see that title, they immediately know this person led, right? They didn't just join, they were the one. But the biggest mistake is that people wait too long, right? You can't just pop into student council in 11th grade and then say, hey, I'm running for president. No one's gonna vote for you, right? It doesn't work like that. Just like any other club or team, student council is about track record. You gotta be in the room, contribute, build trust, building a reputation early on. So if you're in 9th or 10th grade right now, you're in the perfect spot to start laying the foundation. And what we actually do with our clients who want that top spot, we don't just say join early and work hard, right? We treat it like a campaign. Because the truth is that when it comes time to vote, what's happening is that they're gonna look at a Google form and simply see a list of names on there. And if those people can't simply even recognize your name, let alone your face and all your policies, they're not gonna vote for you. And that's where TikTok and Instagram comes in. We help students create short, funny, and super shareable content using trends that past student council candidates have already used successfully. You guys probably have seen some campaign videos like that just pop off for a school that you don't even go to. Obviously not copying word for word, but remixing it, making it their own. Because when something's funny or relatable, it spreads and people share it, right? They remember the face, they remember the name, and they're like, oh yeah, that's the girl running for president. I liked her video. And a lot of the times that's all it takes. It's not about the debates, it's not about the policies, because pretty much in real life as a student council president, you're not gonna be able to do anything anyways. So start early as you possibly can, build real connections and show up where people are actually paying attention. Now, number 6, working with a local business or nonprofit. This is probably one of the most overlooked moves and one of the easiest to start. You don't need a Silicon Valley internship or a name brand nonprofit. You just need one small business or organization in your community that could use your help. It could be a local bakery, a family-owned bookstore, a tutoring center, a community center, even your school's front office, right? The play is to reach out and offer to help with something you're actually good at. Maybe it's running their social media or building a simple website or designing flyers. Whatever it is, you're bringing value, and in return, you're learning how real world work actually works, right? You're collaborating with adults, solving problems, getting feedback, and if you do well, that's someone who could vouch for you in a recommendation letter. Plus, this kind of experience gives you unique stories for when it comes time. Again, it shows grit, initiative, and adaptability, especially because you are putting yourself out there. Because when you think about it, most students only operate in school settings. When you step out into the real world and start to contribute, that could give you a completely different perspective that not all students have. And while you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, cool, but how do I actually go from just being in a club to leading something that actually matters? We already made a video that breaks this down step by step. It's called From Club Member to Leader and shows exactly how to level up your involvement and make it count. It's only 8 minutes and it'll give you a perfect game plan. So you can watch that right here. Now, if this video helped you, hit like, drop a comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And seriously, just don't wait, right? Pick at least one of these 6 moves and just start building. You'll thank yourself later, right? I'll see you in the next one. Peace.